After 50 years, humans are once again ready to set foot on the surface of the moon, turning over a new leaf. Once again, an attempt is being made to create history in time, the task that was done in haste nearly 5 decades ago. Now that task For the first time in years, a human will land on the moon again, and for this mission, what's special is that now a woman and a man of color, that is, a black person, will also go on the journey to the moon. This will not only be a huge scientific accomplishment, but it will also be a new milestone for humanity and for these new astronauts as well. But with the passage of time, things have changed a lot. Today, we are much more advanced compared to the 70s. Our rockets and our computers are better in every way than before. But that's the moon, a desolate world that is still beyond our reach. Decades ago, these astronauts triumphed by conquering it. Stay tuned for major updates and detailed information about the security standards related to National Aeronautics and Space Administration's Artemis mission. In today's documentary library, National Aeronautics and Space Administration recently introduced the world to the team of astronauts who will land on the moon's surface in 2024 under the Artemis mission. It will be a historic moment when we once again land on the moon's surface and revive the nostalgia of those old days in our minds. Meanwhile, future generations will be inspired to join crewed spaceflight. But it also reminds us of the dangers that our ancestors faced to pave the way to this point. If we talk about the last 60 years, ever since humans started tearing through the clouds and heading towards the dark space, from then until today, there have been many unfortunate incidents in which many precious lives had to embrace death. Whether it was during the practice round of the moon mission Apollo, when a fire broke out in the cabin and all 3 astronauts were burned to death, or while returning to Earth, the Space Shuttle Columbia makes sure. No doubt, National Aeronautics and Space Administration has maintained an amazing safety parameter, whether it's the regular spacewalks and recovery flights on the International Space Station or extremely challenging missions like the maintenance of the Hubble Space Telescope. That doesn't mean that the scientists and engineers working at National Aeronautics and Space Administration have never made any mistakes. In the past few decades, there have been such incidents as well. There have been incidents where the ignorant behavior of National Aeronautics and Space Administration employees led to accidents that severely damaged the agency's reputation. Therefore, after these incidents, everything became clear during the investigation, the guilty were appropriately dealt with, and in the future, some rules and regulations have already been established to deal with any such security challenges in advance. We all know that National Aeronautics and Space Administration is one of the world's leading space agencies, which keeps doing something new and challenging every day. In such a situation, its security parameters should be continuously maintained and don't hesitate to change them immediately if needed. Not just once, but many times in history, a simple mistake has caused an entire space mission to be ruined. As a result, not only was the spacecraft damaged, but also the astronauts inside it. This incident happened in the year 1967. National Aeronautics and Space Administration hadn't even completed 10 years since its formation when it witnessed one of the biggest accidents in its history, and the series of experiments was still ongoing. One of these was the Apollo 1 mission, which aimed to conduct a test run for the moon. During the trial phase of this mission, one day, while the launch rehearsal was underway, a fire broke out in the command module cabin, causing a major embarrassment for America. When the investigation into the incident began, everyone from the then United States Air Force Chief General Sam Phillip to the director of the Marshall Space Flight Center, Wernher von Braun, came under scrutiny. The investigation found that Teflon is a fire-resistant material, but still, it is still unclear how it caught fire, and as it spread, the fire reached a hose. Inside it, a flammable coolant liquid was flowing to keep the system cool. When an investigation was conducted, it was found that this accident was the result of carelessness due to haste. The technicians and engineers were under pressure to complete the work within the deadline no matter what. In such a situation, they made many mistakes in haste, one of which resulted in this accident. Before this accident, Apollo Mission Program Officer Joseph Shire claimed that if there was a fire in the cabin, the only reason would be the crew lighting a cigarette. Anita, a fire in this cabin was nearly impossible, so his claims were disproven after the accident. National Aeronautics and Space Administration Administrator James Webb of that era said in an interview that the fire was the result of a failure in management. James Webb set very strict standards and also made changes in the top administration. After that, National Aeronautics and Space Administration's safety system improved and the chances of fatal accidents in upcoming missions decreased. And in every situation, National Aeronautics and Space Administration became a safety-first agency. One after another, Apollo flights took off, and out of them, 6 flights successfully landed on the surface of the moon. Amid a mid-flight emergency, 1 flight was brought back safely, and overall, everything was fine up to this point. Along with that, astronauts died a painful death, and then, once again, the world started looking at National Aeronautics and Space Administration with questioning eyes. After the accident, National Aeronautics and Space Administration's global reputation suffered, leading the agency to review its safety parameters again. The investigation conducted after this accident found that this incident was also the result of human error. The contractors and senior engineers associated with this mission had already informed National Aeronautics and Space Administration top management not to launch at below freezing point temperatures. But the officials sitting in management bypassed this advice and decided to go ahead with the launch. And then exactly what was feared happened. They halted the space shuttle mission for 2 years to focus on research and development, but the officials in management made the decision. And then exactly what was feared happened. 7 astronauts lost their lives. Later, when this case was investigated, once again it was the same reason. This time too, the technician bypassed this advice, and then exactly what was feared happened. But they need to be made even better, so that the possibility of such accidents becomes zero. But this advice was bypassed, and then exactly what was feared happened. He wanted to witness Indian Space Research Organization is Chandrayaan-2 historic moon landing. He wanted to see India making history. But just before the landing, when the lander was only a few meters above the surface of the moon, suddenly contact with Vikram lander was lost. This time, they took a bypass, and then exactly what was feared happened. This year, they took a bypass, and then exactly what was feared happened. They bypassed it, and exactly what was feared happened. Yes, Indian Space Research Organization is Chandrayaan-4 will not only be launched to explore the surface of the moon, but also with the aim of bringing back samples from there. It will also generate excitement and enthusiasm among Indians. By bypassing this, the same thing happened that was feared. Chandrayaan-4, India's technological marvel, is Indian Space Research Organization's most ambitious project so far. This year, it was bypassed, and then what was feared happened. This year, it was bypassed, and again, what was feared happened. So far, only America, Russia, and China have achieved this. But this mission is not limited to just the soil of the moon. The purpose of Indian Space Research Organization's mission is to push the boundaries of space technology even further. The entire mission plan includes the use of spacecraft, complex docking maneuvers, and high-precision landing techniques. Chandrayaan-4 is paving the way for India's big dream in many ways. A dream that brings India closer to the goal of sending its astronauts to the moon. This initiative by Indian Space Research Organization is an effort to take India's space capabilities to a new level. Through Chandrayaan-4, Indian Space Research Organization will not only bring back samples from the moon, but it will also test those advanced techniques, which will be necessary for India's future crewed lunar missions. The concept of Chandrayaan-4 was presented for the first time on November 17, 2023 by Dr. Nilesh M. Desai, the Director of Indian Space Research Organization, Space Application Center. After that, Indian Space Research Organization Chairman N. Somanath confirmed the details of this mission at the beginning of 2024 during the National Space Science Symposium. This will not be an ordinary mission, rather, this effort will be full of challenges. On August 20, 2024, Indian Space Research Organization completed the design work for the Chandrayaan-4 mission and also sent a request for government approval. A month later, on September 18, 2024, under the leadership of Prime Minister Minister Narendra Modi. The Union Cabinet approved a budget of 2,104.06 crore rupees, which is approximately $250 million for this mission. Now, Indian Space Research Organization has to complete this mission within a timeline of 36 months, and with this approval, Indian Space Research Organization has taken another step towards its grand lunar exploration program. But what exactly is it about this mission that makes it so unique, and what challenges is it going to face? What exactly is Indian Space Research Organization going to do that will prove to be a big test for it? The complex objectives of Chandrayaan 4 are to achieve a soft and safe landing. Making a safe and precise landing on the surface of the moon is the first major goal of this mission. This will require unprecedented precision, as landing on the moon's rough south pole demands it, where even a small mistake can cause the entire mission to fail. And we have already seen an example of this in Chandrayaan 2. Lunar sample collection. The objective of this mission is to collect up to 3 kilograms of soil and rock samples from the surface of the moon using a robotic arm and drilling mechanism. During this process, samples will also be collected from beneath the surface of the moon, and during this time, the Ascender module will have to be launched from the surface of the moon. After this, it will have to be placed in low lunar orbit, and this test is going to be very important because it could prove to be essential techniques for future crewed missions. Docking in lunar orbit will be another important phase of Chandrayaan 4. During this, docking and undocking operations will be performed in Earth and lunar orbit, which will play an important role in building future lunar colonies and the Lunar Gateway. Return and re-entry. The re-entry module, which will contain valuable lunar samples, will have to re-enter Earth's dense atmosphere, and it will have to withstand the high temperatures and pressure of this phase and then land safely on Earth. By accomplishing all these objectives, Chandrayaan 4 will enhance our scientific capabilities, and this will also help fulfill our dream of sending a human or an Indian to the moon. Launching everything at once really creates limitations for us. We are only able to launch limited payloads, but Indian Space Research Organization has completely eliminated the limitations of a single launch mission in Chandrayaan 4, because this time, 5 different modules will be used in Chandrayaan 4, and each module will play its important role in this multi-phase mission. The propulsion module, just like the propulsion module used in Chandrayaan 3, will also be responsible for taking the assembled spacecraft to lunar orbit. The lander module will have a robotic arm and a drilling mechanism. With this, it will collect samples from the surface of the moon and will also be able to extract and gather subsurface materials. All these samples will then be stored in the Ascender module. After collecting the samples, the Ascender module will launch from the surface of the moon and will dock with the transfer and re-entry module already present in the moon's orbit. The job of the transfer module is to retrieve the samples from the Ascender module, then it will transfer those samples into the re-entry module, and finally it will also set it up to bring it back to Earth. The re-entry module is designed to withstand intense heat during re-entry. It will safely bring the samples brought from the moon back to Earth. Through this 5-model spacecraft design, we get to know about Indian Space Research Organization's innovative approach. Apart from this, the entire mission has been divided into 2 phases, which will be launched using different launch vehicle Mark III rockets. Chandrayaan IFE will be launched in 2 separate phases instead of a single launch. Phase 1. This first launch will carry the first stack of the mission, which will include the descender and ascender modules. These components will complete the tasks of landing on the moon, collecting samples, and bringing the samples to lunar orbit. Phase 2, the second launch, will send the mission's second stack into space, which will handle the entire process of bringing the samples back to Earth from lunar orbit. Once both these stacks reach Earth's orbit, they will dock with each other through a complex maneuver, so that a single integrated spacecraft can be formed. After docking, the propulsion module will guide this integrated spacecraft toward lunar orbit. And this is how we are going to reach the moon this time. Chandrayaan 4's planned landing site is going to be Shiv Shakti Point. Yes, the same area where our Chandrayaan 3 made its historic touchdown. This location at the Moon's south pole has great scientific significance because its unique morphology, potential hydration sources, and gravity anomalies make it special. Indian Space Research Organization has extensively studied this region of the Moon. Data from Chandrayaan 2 orbiter, National Aeronautics and Space Administration's Lunar Reconnaissance and other lunar missions has been collected and studied in depth. By landing in this area, Chandrayaan 4 will further advance Indian Space Research Organization's work in exploring this most mysterious part of the Moon. The Indian crewed lunar mission, Chandrayaan 4 mission, is not just a scientific endeavor for us. This is an important step for Indian Space Research Organization towards a crewed lunar landing by 2040. Chandrayaan 4 will require complex docking, maneuvers, sample collection, and a safe return. By mastering these technologies, Indian Space Research Organization is laying a strong technical foundation for future human missions. Indian Space Research Organization Chairman S. Somanath emphasized the importance of this mission, saying that Chandrayaan 4 is not limited to just bringing soil from the Moon. It's about proving our capabilities that we can send humans to the Moon and bring them back safely. This mission, along with other Indian Space Research Organization projects, is playing an important role in achieving India's long-term goals for space exploration. These include the establishment of an Indian space station in low Earth orbit by 2035 and a Venus orbiter mission as well. Lessons from Chandrayaan show that there has been no shortage of challenges in India's lunar program. The Vikram lander of Chandrayaan 2 failed to make a soft landing on the Moon. Due to some malfunction at the very last moments, the lander crashed. But Indian Space Research Organization did not see this as a failure. Instead, they learned a lot from this setback. Chandrayaan 3 launched in 2023 accomplished what Chandrayaan 2 could not, and it proved Indian Space Research Organization is determination and resolve. These experiences have played a very important role in the design of Chandrayaan 4. Precision landing techniques have been further improved, and engineers have also prepared new contingency plans by learning from the challenges of previous missions. Chandrayaan 4 is actually a mission built by learning from both our successes and failures, just as Chandrayaan 4 is getting ready for launch. India is standing at the threshold of a new era of lunar exploration. This mission is not just about reaching the Moon, it's about bringing a part of that Moon back. It's about expanding our scientific knowledge and overcoming the challenges that lie ahead on the path to future human exploration. We know that this journey won't be easy. Chandrayaan 4 requires complex, manifold, unprecedented techniques and flawless exploration. But if, with the prayers of millions of countrymen, this mission succeeds, it will forever change our understanding of the Moon. During this mission, every sample that will be collected, every maneuver that will be perfected, will bring our India even closer to that dream when one day, carrying the flag of our beloved India, an Indian will stand on the Moon. The countdown has begun. Chandrayaan 4 is ready to take its place in history, and with every new mission, Indians are proving that even the stars are no longer out of reach for us. These days, China has started increasing its influence in space, and soon China is going to become the world's third space power. But China's sudden aggression in space has made the major space powers nervous because the situation is quite serious. On the ground, we know what China's attitude is like, how it has made many countries its slaves even today, and how it is using various tactics to occupy the lands of other countries. But major space agencies like National Aeronautics and Space Administration believe that China is going to do the same thing in space, and this threat could be very costly for the whole world. National Aeronautics and Space Administration Administrator Bill Nelson recently claimed that China could occupy the Moon and drive other countries away from there. However, China has denied any such claim. They say that China will not occupy any space territory. But at the same time, Bill Nelson insists that it's a fact we are in a space race, even if it doesn't sound too strange or alarming. But if that happens, the situation on Earth is going to get much worse. The entire Earth and the world's economy can be run from the Moon. If a dictator like China controls the Moon, nothing could prevent humanity from being enslaved in the 21st century. Here, the space race is only only between three superpowers, the United States of America, Russia, and China, but the whole world will not be able to escape its impact. Everyone knows about the political relations between the United States of America, Russia, and China, but still, National Aeronautics and Space Administration and the Russian space agency Roscosmos have a long history of cooperation in space exploration. Both countries share the same space station, but National Aeronautics and Space Administration and the emerging China National Space Administration or China National Space Administration don't have any such historical background. When they are rivals on the ground, this rivalry will continue in space as well. Both countries share the same space station. China sent its first taikonaut, meaning Chinese astronaut, into space in 2003, while Russia had already sent Yuri Gagarin into space 42 years earlier. And with China aiming for the moon, everyone thinks that in the future there could be controversy or even war over space territories. Controversy arises from the competition between National Aeronautics and Space Administration and China's space missions. We're not saying at all that America can't take control of the moon first. It absolutely can. You'll find out the reason for this further in the video. So, while the United States of America has launched the Artemis program to go to the moon again, meanwhile, China and Russia are collaborating on the International Lunar Research Station. National Aeronautics and Space Administration's Artemis program is about landing on the moon again and reviving its old legacy. By building a long-term presence on the moon, it aims to conduct exploration, science, and commercial activities transparently. And for this, National Aeronautics and Space Administration has created the Artemis Accord, which is an international partnership where other countries can also contribute. You will find its link in the description. You can check it out, but you won't see China and Russia here. Both countries have been intentionally kept out of this agreement. The United States Congress has prohibited National Aeronautics and Space Administration from collaborating with China, and Russia itself chose not to sign this agreement. They said the agreement focused entirely on the United States of America. And that's why China and Russia came together and established a joint project to put the United States of America on the back foot. The International Lunar Research Station will be a permanent moon base. Technically, there is no direct conflict between National Aeronautics and Space Administration and China's missions, but this is about to start the second space race, the space race of the 21st century. All countries know what benefits can come from establishing a moon base on the moon, but according to space law, no country can legally claim land on the moon. But the increasing tension between countries can show us how weak our space laws are and how they can be misused. Except for Earth, all places in space are unoccupied, where anyone can take control and where there are abundant resources. Additionally, commercial and military benefits can be gained here, and these things can benefit any country. We should focus on the space treaty as it covers the moon and other celestial bodies. The most frightening part is that this treaty relies solely on moral values and principles. It's only advice to countries. There are no rules in it that can stop any country from carrying out a specific activity in outer space. It means if China or America wants to control the moon, no one can prevent them. And the only thing that can stop them are the country's own values and principles, which can hold them back anyway. This treaty states that exploring outer space must benefit all countries and humanity, and that all nations are free to explore it. But no one can claim ownership over it. The moon and other celestial bodies should be used for the peace and prosperity of humanity, and astronauts will represent humankind, meaning they will act in the interest of humanity. So, the simple meaning of the essence of the Outer Space Treaty is that no single entity should use any celestial body for its own benefit. Rather, all of humanity has a right to it. So, this is an overview of the Outer Space Treaty, and there are many things within it that are worth understanding. If you want, we can make a separate video on that as well. But for now, we will talk about the moon agreement in this treaty, because this whole conflict is just about this one moon. So this agreement has been made separately to protect the rights of the moon and other planets. It also says that all bodies should be used for the benefit of mankind. And that's why, at the beginning of the video, we said that if America wants, it can even take over the moon. Because there are some other things in this method that can backfire, but to some extent, it's also correct. For example, in this point about jurisdiction, it is stated that if any country launches something into space or lands something on a celestial body, then that thing will remain under the authority of that country. For example, if China constructs a research facility on the moon, China will retain authority over it. But from here, it is not clear to us how much area around that facility will remain under China's authority and for how long. If a country covers a very large area, will that entire area come under the control of that country? And if there are valuable minerals for mining in that facility, what will happen to them? Will they also come under the authority of that country? And these are some of the loopholes that any country can take advantage of to seize land and resources on the moon. That's why there's a race to go to the moon. Because everyone knows these treaties and agreements will end up meaningless. Because in the coming times, the one who has the resources will become the superpower, especially since resources on Earth are depleting. The moon is our next target, and that's why everyone is panicking because of the moon's aggressive approach. So friends, I hope you have gotten answers to your questions. The moon is 384,000 kilometers away from our Earth, a world where countless mysteries are buried. It's the only place in our universe where we humans have been able to go beyond this Earth. From our ancestors to today, we have always been amazed by looking at the moon, and the race to go there has made the moon a topic of discussion all over the world. Today, every country wants to go to the moon. Whether it's America, China, Russia, or even Bharat, these countries are focused on landing on the moon and uncovering its mysteries. But friends, have you ever wondered what the world of the moon is really like? Where so many missions have been sent, if you were to go there and see for yourself, what would your experience on the moon be like? What is the surface of the moon like? Is there soil there? Are there rocks, mountains? Or what are the sandy plains like there? How would you feel standing there? Where is water found there? Are there seas there? And what secrets are buried in the craters present there? Could there be aliens there? We will find answers to all these questions in this video today. Today, we will travel from Earth to the moon, but before starting this unique journey, make sure to subscribe to our channel. First of all, we will have to choose a route to go to the moon. Do we want to reach the moon in 43 days like India's Chandrayaan 3, or do we want to go to the moon in 3 to 4 days like America's Apollo 11? Obviously, we will choose the journey of 3 to 4 days because no one would want to spend 40 days in such a small space inside a space capsule. In 3 to 4 days, we will be on the surface of the moon and we would want to land at the historic site Tranquility Base, where the first manned moon mission landed. As soon as we land, there will be a whole new world in front of us, every inch of which we would want to see. The view will be incredibly beautiful, but the reality will be just as terrifying. As we step out of the lander, we will see the lander right in front of us, the one from which Neil and Buzz Aldrin landed on the moon. There, we will also see the footprints of Neil Armstrong's boots. And the scattered items that the astronauts left there, we will also see them right there. As far as the eye can see, there will only be such things just lying around, lifeless, neither breathing nor moving. The view around will be like this. If you look around, you'll only see endless barren land. The moon's surface, shining like silver in the sunlight, is rough and uneven. There are small and very large craters everywhere. This landscape will scare you to your core. You would never want to go to such a place alone. As soon as you land there, you'll realize that your weight has become much less. In fact, the moon's gravity is 6 times weaker than Earth's. So if your weight on Earth is around 60 kilograms, on the moon your weight will be only 10 kilograms. You won't be able to walk on the moon the same way you walk on Earth. First, you'll be wearing a spacesuit, so because of the pressurized air inside, you won't be able to operate normally, and second, there's the gravity there. Because of the lower gravity, you'll be pulled less toward the surface of the moon, so hopping is a better option for moving around. So you can move around on the moon, but the biggest danger for you there could be the moon's dust. The moon's dust is very fine. Like a powder, it shouldn't get into your spacesuit by mistake, as it can cause damage to your spacesuit. And this can be very dangerous. When you are too far from your lander, it can be dangerous. The astronauts who went to the moon said that when they returned to their lander after working on the moon's surface, they smelled something like gunpowder. It could be coming from the same moon dust that had stuck to their spacesuits. But when the moon rocks were brought to Earth, none of them had that smell. And now this has become a mystery and you have to uncover it. If you're very excited to go to the moon and just want to walk around, even then you're heading towards danger. There are dangers with every step on the moon. If you move too fast, you won't be able to stop easily. And if suddenly you come across a crater where there's only darkness, believe me, before going into that darkness, you have to stop at any cost, because that's not just darkness, that's certain death. The moment you enter that darkness, you'll be exposed to temperatures as low as -100 degrees Celsius and you'll just be stuck there. Neither a spacesuit will be able to save you, nor will any other force be able to protect you there. You'll freeze right there and won't be able to move even a little bit. So every step on the moon has to be taken with extreme caution. Apart from this, if you look up at the sky, it's possible that you'll be able to see our Earth very clearly in the moon's sky. You'll also see the sun in the moon's sky. And the rest of the sky will be completely black. There won't be any stars or any planets, nothing at all, just pitch black, darkness, and a dark sky when you look up. You can look at the Earth and feel happy and be thankful that humanity lives on a planet like Earth. And by looking at the rest of the black sky, you can feel fear and boredom. The sky on the moon is black because there is no atmosphere on the moon where light can reflect or refract as it often does on Earth. But the terrifying sky of the moon will not only scare you, it can also become a big problem. Do you know why there are so many craters on the moon? The answer is that there is no atmosphere on the moon. That's why all the small asteroids roaming in space end up colliding with the moon because of its gravity. Because there is no atmosphere, they reach its surface directly. Whereas on Earth, because of the atmosphere, any asteroid burns up and gets destroyed before reaching the surface. But on the moon, we don't have any such protective shield. That's why these asteroids can become the biggest threat for any astronaut on the moon. No one knows when or which asteroid might come and collide with us. Just understand that the moon will try to take your life in every possible way from every direction, and you have to do everything you can to survive there. Going to the moon is a mission, but in reality, it's a battle between nature and humans where sometimes nature wins and sometimes humans do. But humans make full preparations to ensure that they remain completely safe there. But there's one more thing that will chill you to the core, and that is, even if you want to shout and call someone on the moon, you can't. If for some reason the gadget attached to your spacesuit doesn't work, you will have no way to contact your team. And this really makes us think that the moon is truly dangerous. Many times we hear that there are aliens on the moon. But National Aeronautics and Space Administration has always denied this. Astronauts have observed odd things on the moon multiple times, but National Aeronautics and Space Administration largely ignored them. Yes, it's possible that there is some form of life on the moon, which might be frozen in the water collected in the moon's craters. And this also makes us feel afraid that if we ever try to extract and use the frozen water from those craters, could we end up creating a graveyard for ourselves on the moon? The moon is still just as dangerous for us today as it ever was before. Please be sure to share your suggestions for us in the comment section. Friends, if you like this video, be sure to share it with your friends as well. Friends, for more informative videos like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel and enable the bell notification. Friends, we'll be back soon with another informative video. Until then, stay curious and happy. Goodbye.